I've always been wrong about testosterone. I've always thought testosterone was simple. Either you have high T or you just don't. Lift heavy, eat right, compete to win. You know, the basics. And the thing is, for me, I'm active, I'm trained, I'm disciplined. So I assumed that I knew what high testosterone actually meant. So then I started to look into different communities around the world and their testosterone levels, specifically in Africa. And what I found really challenged my preconceived notions about testosterone, because the more that goes into testosterone than just lifting weights or the conventional things that we always think about. It's about whether you're competing or investing, and I'll explain that in a little bit. First of all, my name is Bior. I help young men ascend physically, building aesthetic physiques through the ascendancy, or as I've recently named it, Adore Bior. You know, I've named it to the name of the channel. How do you like it? It sounds a bit zesty to me, I'll be honest with you, but I thought it kind of had a nice ring to it, you know what I mean? It's a philosophy that combines looks maxing, training, genetics, and history/anthropology. You're clearly interested in that, so do both of us a favor, scroll down to subscribe and post notification buttons and leave a comment just in case you like this video. Also, sign up to my email newsletter where I give you weekly advice on helping with everything that this channel is about: building aesthetic physiques, improving your look, as well as anthropology, taking this all from an anthropological perspective. So I remember being exactly here, like in my bed, like right here, like, hold up, like right here on this bed. Hold on, damn. Well, I remember being in the sweaty room watching gym edits for the first time, and I've watched hundreds of self-improvement, self-development videos, especially those related to testosterone. And the thing is, I always thought that, you know, especially before, is that, you know, testosterone was just kind of a thing you had or you didn't have, and that, you know, it was just tied to things like muscle, good genetics, deep voice, aggression, things like that, you know, all the conventional stuff. I thought that you either just had it or didn't have it. And I've never really tested my testosterone either, but I've always assumed that I would be mid-tier just because, you know, I'm a pretty athletic guy myself. You know, off of the conventional things, I'm kind of tall, whatever, right? Only thing that would probably leave me cooked is like my sleep schedule, but it's what it is. And since I've always been active across, you know, throughout my whole entire life, I just kind of, you know, naturally just saw myself as more adjacent to the high T guys. And, you know, I decided recently to just take a look into some of the research about different groups of people around the world and what their testosterone levels are, because I used to always hear in these videos that way back when, back around the World War II era, testosterone levels were like astronomically a lot higher than they are today. And I haven't looked at that study, but I do believe that it's true. But that's when I discovered a few things, really fundamental things about testosterone and what some of their biggest impacts are. I'm looking at specifically different tribal groups around the world. I read this study about 3 different tribal groups. They were the Hadza, the Datoga, and the Kwam people. And these were 3 different ethnic groups. 2 of them lived within Africa and another one was from South America. The Datoga were a pastoralist herder group, while the Hadza and Kwam were both hunter-gatherer groups. And the paper kind of got into testosterone and kind of explained and kind of gave me a different outlook on, you know, the way that testosterone looks. And one of those things was it explained the specific functions and role that testosterone plays, and it's kind of different than what you would usually think. It says here, specifically, elevated testosterone prioritizes investment and reproductive effort at the expense of maintenance and survival, acquiring mates either through male competition or female choice, often increase mortality risk. And I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, when you read it off face value, it is a bit common sense when you think about what that means, what that implies, right? It is male competition. It really you know, prioritizes reproductive effort, right? Basically, bro, you know, that's the fancy way of the paper saying, yeah, like you're trying to smash, bro, you know what I mean? And the easiest way to do that, or the way that testosterone gets you to do that, is either through male competition. That's why, things like the muscles and the deep voice and all that stuff, that's where they come into play. But then also the other darker part of it is that it comes at a increased rate of mortality, or basically you're gonna die soon. And I mean, it's kind of interesting that, you always see that, like, the high T guys, Achilles, King Von, these guys, high T guys, but, didn't really last too long, you know what I mean? And I mean, that was a pretty interesting insight on itself. But yeah, I really think looking at something like that probably gives us a better idea of what testosterone is for and what its purpose is in our body. And I mean, it's really clear and cut. It doesn't really contradict too much with, what is generally known about testosterone, but I think it does put everything into context. But one other insight that this paper gave that was pretty interesting to me was that apparently men in the West actually do have higher testosterone than other subsistence groups. And what I mean by that is, like, people who live in kind of like a tribal setting, especially, and specifically with that term, subsistence people. Pretty much that basically means you belong to a community that farms or gathers their own food, and they're not really industrialized. So either you have, milk or, from animals that you guys own or herd, or you have your own farms and that's what you kind of use to supply your people. If not that, you also have, believe it or not, modern day hunter-gatherers. And men in the West typically have higher testosterone. Now this is a bit, it's surprising for some people and not surprising for some, right? Because obviously you'd say, well, in the West you have a lot of better nutrition, and that's actually part of the reason why people in the West do have higher testosterone. Not so much because the food that we're eating is better necessarily, although people in the West do have a lot more protein. There's a lot more food consistency and, higher caloric intake. And that actually leads from a departure from what humans' natural testosterone level is supposed to be more like, where it's a little bit lower in young adolescence or young adulthood, but you suffer from a less severe drop in comparison to men in the West who might have higher levels of testosterone in early adulthood. I believe they took some men from Boston, which is where they got these kind of this comparison from, and compared them to a few groups around the world, some in Africa, some in Asia and South America. But yeah, so the Western men had higher levels of testosterone in young adulthood, but in the West they suffered from a much steeper decline. So I mean, that was pretty interesting. It was something that kind of threw me off, especially like in the internet spaces, a lot of the times we hear that, these groups, the real natural humans, people who live a natural kind of lifestyle, their testosterone's higher, everything for them is better. And I mean, I think you can make the case in a lot of ways, yeah, but in a lot of ways, probably no, and this is probably one of them. Aside from that, going back to the 3 different ethnic groups that I mentioned earlier, the Tuga, the Hadza, and the Kwam people, the Tuga and Hadza being the African ethnic groups that live in Tanzania, and the Kwam being people who live in Southern America. The testosterone differences between them were actually pretty interesting and were pretty revealing on a few realities about testosterone that I found very interesting. And is that, well, number one, there's a few things you have to consider. That the Tuga are a Southern Nilotic ethnic group who are pastoralists. This basically means that they herd animals, specifically cattle and goats and things like that. And these different kind of lifestyles in comparison to the Kwam and the Hadza, who are hunter-gatherers, these different kind of subsistence strategies live to different types of lifestyle. Typically, obviously, pastoralist societies tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Hunter-gatherer societies can be as well. But as a herder, that life is a little bit more aggressive. Another thing that this kind of lifestyle affected, which was actually the biggest differentiator between, one of the biggest reasons that kind of showed the differentiation between testosterone in these 3 different groups, was paternal investment, aka how much time fathers spend with their kids. And it actually seems that the study, and that was the main focus of the study. The study actually showed that men, specifically from the Hadza and Kwam ethnic groups, who spend slightly more time with their children, specifically, especially infant children, they spend more time with those children than the Datuga men, who are pastoralists, do with theirs. They tend to have a significant lower amount of testosterone than the Datuga. It's actually pretty surprising, because when you actually look at the numbers, the amount of time that the Hadza men in particular spend with their infants or taking care of children, it's actually less than 10%. It's actually around like 2 to 5% for both the Hadza and the Kwam. And even then, 2 to 5% of the day spent with a kid, that was enough to actually create a statistically significant enough difference in testosterone between the groups. But there's also a second factor, which obviously is diet. Now, looking at the Tuga diet, not only are they pastoralists and they spend less time around the children, men don't really raise children like that, the diet is obviously going to have a much better effect for testosterone, specifically because the diets are pretty much more entirely animal based. The Kwam, I'm pretty sure, I'm not really sure on them, but I know the Hadza, they have some animal based foods as well in their diet, but obviously not as much. They actually eat slightly more plants than they do have hunted meat or animals. So that is actually something pretty interesting. But with the Datuga, who are pastoralists, a lot of what their diet relies on is meat, milk, things like that, which are going to have certain things like fats and cholesterol and other things of that nature, animal proteins, they're going to have a much more stronger and positive effect on the testosterone levels. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much like some of the things that I found really interesting about these testosterone in general, but especially testosterone looking at these different ethnic groups, these African ethnic groups, and the Kwam, who are from Southern America. And honestly, that is why, like in the last year, I have made a conscious effort to make my diet personally a little bit more animal based, including things like steak and milk. Things that already were in my diet. Occasionally milk was already a pretty decent part of my diet, but really making a conscious effort to increase those things really, I think does, is good. Obviously, you want to do it in proportion. You don't want to go overboard with it. But yeah, I think these were like some pretty good, additions, improvements to my diet overall. But yeah, anyways, with that being said, I hope you learned something new. If you'd like to learn anything extra or have any of my notes that I've taken for this video, things like that, any extra help with building a good physique, helping out things like testosterone, hormones, looks maxing, all the above, first thing in the description, you can either join my ascendancy school, or if not, you want something a little bit less, with a less investment, I'm now creating an email list where I will send out weekly advice, and advice and, little things that I've learned, notes about, things related to fitness, health, all the above, everything that we talk about in my ascendancy school, but just for people interested in the email newsletter. So with that being said, peace. If you've been watching my videos and you actually want to apply the things that I've talked about, join my ascendancy school. I now recently just got signed to a modeling agency and previously had multiple others interested in me. And a big reason why is because I had a good physique. I had an aesthetic physique, more importantly. Now, obviously that isn't the only thing, things like look and things of that nature are important as well. Building an aesthetic physique nonetheless does get you more on point. And that's what I'm gonna help you guys do in there. And there you'll get all of my frameworks when it comes to things like me explaining the diet and the workout training routine that I took to get me where I am today over the past 3 years of me lifting. If that sounds interesting to you, the first link in the description will be there. That being said, peace, bro.